And I spoke to Thomas Bjørn about it, when DP World Tour in Denmark, and he said, well, they need to be white. The elderly at the PGA Show came saying, well, we've been told we need more sustainability.
I actually drove the ball 20 yards further, much straighter than I ever have before. Welcome to the BirDie Golf Club Podcast, and today we have a very special guest. We have Kristian Kohn from Green Up Golf joining us, and we have a fantastic discussion about coffee waste and how that can be used in golf. Might not be what you were expecting from this conversation, but that's what we get to. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I just want to take this moment to say a special thank you to everyone that listens to the podcast, and thank you for your support. If you haven't already, head over to Instagram to @BirDie Golf Club Podcast and give us a follow over there. And obviously leave a review, leave a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you again. Enjoy the episode. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. It has been a bit of a whirlwind month or so for you. So maybe you just want to, first of all, for the listeners that maybe don't know about Green Up Golf, don't know about you, maybe just a little introduction about yourself would be great.
Thank you. I'll try and make a short fly-in, or how do you call it? Well, my name is Kristian, and I'm the co-founder of Green Up, a Danish startup company consisting of 3 persons at the moment. Anders, who's my friend, and then we've got David Shepard, personally involved, and my mentor in the golf business. So we're Danish located. I live in Copenhagen, or just outside, and we are the producers of the golf cheese. Initially started with the golf cheese made out of borrowed material and upcycled coffee. So we collect the coffee grounds and we dry them a little bit more, and then we make the tea. And we've got the normal tea and our castle tea. And we went to the PGA Show with that assortment, now also having a pitchfork, a ball marker, and our pencil, which I particularly both proud and happy to have. So yes, it has been a busy month because we went to the PGA Show and we had an amazing show. I always say that a show like this is always to be measured after a few months when you know whether you really sold or not. Sure. But coming home with a trophy of best new product of the PGA Show, well, that sort of makes it a success not regardless, but it's hard to say it's not a success already.
Absolutely. When I saw that on my feed on Instagram, unfortunately I couldn't get over to the PGA Show. It's a bit of a distance for me. But when I saw that on my feed, I just thought, well, I wasn't surprised, first of all, because like I said to you when we first interacted, I was literally on the golf course thinking, why are we hitting wooden tees? Why are we wasting so much product? Because what happens? They break. Yeah. Tees break. It's part of the business. So why are we using this product which we know is wasteful? Surely there must be a better way. I mean, I didn't think whilst I was having my coffee post round, wait a minute, what are they doing with those coffee pucks over there? We can use that. Yeah. So what led you to the idea? We can get into the PGA Show in a minute. I'd love to explore that more. What was that light bulb moment for you and the other members of the team that really sparked the idea of turning coffee waste into a golf product? And what was the process like of understanding how to do that?
I came in at Green Up, I think, half a year later than where Jacob, who was initially founder of Green Up, he's unfortunately out. He didn't want to be any more part of it. So that's why I'm co-founder, because I've been making the castle tees, the pencil, and so forth. But anyway, he was working on a golf course in Copenhagen called Royal Copenhagen Golf. And he was talking to the greenkeepers, and he was studying at Copenhagen Business School, I believe, business and law or something. And he was talking to the greenkeepers, and they were annoyed by the plastic at that time and the wood. not as much bamboo because it was mainly plastic and wood at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And they were annoyed of, as you're saying, scattered around, looks awful.
Yeah.
It's damaging the greenkeeper's equipment. It's just not good.
Mm.
And he said, well, I can do better. We need to do something about that. So he was investigating, what can be done in terms of biomaterial, in terms of having the stability in the tea, and I'll come back to that. And his mom goes, to be honest, well, why don't you use coffee? Every mom seems to know that coffee is good for the garden. Put it on the roses or the
Mom knows best.
and use it for fertilizer and upcycle your own use coffee in that way. And he tried that, and all of a sudden he succeeded in having the first tea.
Yeah.
And the biomaterial and the upcycled coffee itself made it a quality tea. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's important for us that we had a product which would be as durable, as functionable as any other normal tea. You have amazing invention out there, being teas from seaweed or potato peels, and all of that, which is amazing. But when you cry on them from your bogey, they vanish too fast. So we didn't, we want to have something that was upcycled, biodegradable, eco-friendly, but still, that you could play in Scotland with on a rainy day, or somewhere else in United Kingdom or Denmark, or where the weather is not as in other places.
That's going to resonate with everyone in the audience from the UK at the moment. It is horrible.
And that's why you're having a hat on, because it's cold, it's horrible.
Exactly. I've got 3 layers on.
It's winter golf. Anyhow, so that was, the idea behind it. And then it took on from there. And I met him, as I said, I think 3/4 of a year later or something. He was on LinkedIn. And I said to him, well, I used to be in the coffee business. I was a country manager for Segafredo Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I want these teas as a gimmick because I'm in the golf business. I play golf, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And he didn't reply to me. And I was going to Munich at some point later, meeting colleagues from Segafredo, and I want to make a gimmick. So that's why I got to know him. And then we stayed low for quite some time. And then I start commercializing and being part of the team and helping, and now it's all in. I'm out of Segafredo, and now it's the coffee teas.
Amazing.
I'm still having a work outside of it, but and then we want to make the castle tea because we want to broaden the assortment. But we really felt like we were missing something in the assortment, because people were still saying to us, well, you may have the teas, but we still need the pencil, perhaps even the pitchfork or divot or ball marker. So, and I was struggling in the divot or pitchfork. Sorry, from divot. That's American language.
No. I say divot. I get confused by pitchfork.
Well, and at the show it's a divot. Anyway, it's a pitchfork, and that was not that hard to make. The one that I really, really want to make was make a pencil, because this is also wood, and wood, wood pencils or plastic golf pencils, they're basically more or less out, but there's still some made.
Yeah.
But wood pencils are deforesting, and you only use them like 2 rounds of golf, and that's it. And what we have done is actually, it's difficult to see, but the graphite here on a normal wood pencil, the graphite goes all the way through. And I never ever seen somebody sharpen his or her pencil. So our graphite stops here in the top. So you can, if you have a tool, you can sharpen it. But again, reducing waste. Why have it? And this is sort of now making, as I'm saying, full assortment from tea to green. Got the different tea sizes. We may get something that is bigger for the American market, but we got our pitchfork, which is, it's a standard pitchfork, a normal ball marker, just to have it. But the pencil for tournaments, for golf courses, and we can do customization on them as well. So that's the journey, and we've got other ideas in mind as well. We've got a pot for pot plans, put them straight into the ground when we're done with the golf business. But
Yeah.
for now, it's golf.
Okay, well, I like that. I like that. You got your, your USP, and you're sticking to it for now, but you're gonna branch out, I'm sure, without using branches, obviously, as well. That is important.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the PGA show. Um, it's a huge deal in the industry, especially for startup brands such as yourself. I was talking the other day with Simon Lino from Runner Golf, makes putters in France, and when he went and he won the innovation award for the putters, it was huge for his business. He did say that also came with challenges. Obviously, the positives are there of, well, now I've got a bigger audience for my product, which is what I went there with the intention of having. But am I ready for the orders that are going to start coming in? So have you found a similar experience, or did you go there with the confidence of, I'm ready for the orders to start come flooding in, essentially?
I was there last year. So the story starts actually last year when I was there as a spectator, just, because I'm not from the golf business. Now I am obviously in it, but I was new to the golf business. So learning about it, walking around, trying to have as many meetings as I could, via network and social media, and sort of get the feeling of it, because it's so big. And we think that we are big here in Europe, but entering a show in America is just like, it's huge.
Is it a kilometer from one side to the other, or something like that? Apparently it's a kilometer in distance from one side to the other. I mean, that's.
I mean, just
crazy.
to put it in perspective, at one end of the convention center, you basically have a driving range still. People are hitting, irons and drivers. Obviously not the full range, but let's say 50 meters or 35 meters still. And then you have the exhibitors going, and on the other half of the show you got all the apparel. So insanely big. Anyway, so I was there last year, and I noticed the innovation area, the new product zone, and I met some nice people from both UK and Germany there, and talking about pricing in terms of having a booth, and that area is cheaper than let's say the normal booth, where you have become a brand or you become something, spend a lot more money than that. And
sure,
said, we want, if I'm going, we're going to be there because everybody goes through the innovation area, because that's where the new products are. That's where the innovations, the out of the box thinking, the silly ideas, the good ideas, the thinking of tomorrow, any kinds of that. And then I also said, well, we can't be there alone. I was there alone last year, but you can't. You have to take a pee. Sorry, I mean, you have to go to the toilet once in a while. you need to refresh yourself, and you need also to be present when people are coming to you. Absolutely. So one, don't go there alone. Two, my learning was also, and I know this obviously from my previous, my experience within sales and marketing, we need somehow to be ready.
Yeah.
And we then found our distributor for North America called BirDie Golf, who we sold some tees to. A New Zealand brand or a New Zealand company. But we were finalizing our agreements in November. And I said, well, if we are ready, we should go together. Greenup as the brand, BirDie Golf as the distributor, because I think we can make it. Last year was, sustainability in US is not, it's growing. I don't want to say it's big, because it is obviously growing big, but in terms of who is exhibiting, it's still plastic tees. It's still, we could have something there as a unique story. But we need to make sure that we do have a distribution there.
Yes. A structure in place, ready.
Exactly. So coming back to the, your friend with the putters being able to deliver. So I came in with a bit of confidence that we have our distributor. I met them a few days before the show. We played golf and talked, and we're ready to exhibit. And we did. But I wasn't anticipating a YouTuber all of a sudden spending 50 seconds on showing Greenup, which I love. But all of a sudden, Americans were coming into our web shop, which is closed for US, because I don't want to, it's too expensive to ship. So I needed to open that again, and I need to tell my partners now, you need to start selling now, because we just had the leads that were, you bring in the leads, you start a conversation, you have to negotiate pricing, and all of that was in order, and everybody at the shows were down to that. But all of a sudden, consumers were coming in, and I was not necessarily ready for that. And then all of a sudden, you got Kathy Bissell from Golf 2.0 want to make a podcast or video, and so a lot of positive things has come in. But
absolutely,
I think number one learning is, if go there, be ready at some point. You can't be ready for anything, but you should be ready to have a distribution channel set up, because otherwise you will. I mean, there's a saying, you'll shoot yourself in the foot, because you may got just got that one shot. And we were lucky that a lot of people were talking about sustainability. They are aware that bamboo is good. Fully painted, still from China. You don't know what kind of primer or paint they're using. And also the everybody's having bamboo now in terms of marketing. So you have the high-end golf courses for, it could be 500 pounds or $1, doesn't really matter, same. And then they're offering, a handful of bamboo tees, and then you go to the next course, which is 50 pounds or $50. It's the same bamboo tee. Whereas there should be some unique differentiating parameters for the high-end golf clubs, and a lot of younger people coming in, knowing that we can do more. So the coffee story was just, we were lucky that we fell into that, and I think I hoped for it, I dreamed for it, and I think we were spot on.
I mean, you being from the coffee industry as well, I mean, that just works just hand in hand, because obviously you're aware of how to source like the best way it can. And I'm guessing, I have no idea on this, you can fill me in. What do coffee shops normally do with their coffee waste? What normally happens to it?
They throw it out.
So it just has pretty much no use to them.
Pretty much no use. I think the advantage is that Europeans, and a little bit perhaps more the Nordic countries, we are a little bit in forefront of a lot of things in terms of sustainability, but also in terms of upcycling or rethinking matters. We now got the word from the director of Danish Technological Institute that what we're doing is upcycling. And what I mean is, I already know it is upcycling because we use the coffee, but now they also said, in terms of using the coffee for heating systems or anything, in a larger scale. But still, what we're doing is pure upcycling. So
that makes sense.
There's a company collecting the coffee with business models, and I'm in talk with one of the CEOs of the renovations company that is collecting the garbage, or and they're doing a lot of effort in trying to put the different garbage in different bins.
Yes.
As you recycle, and you do stuff also in UK and everybody else. But adding to that is taking the coffee out of the equation and collect that, next to your food waste and next to anything else, to be able to use that again. And now, because it's grown so big, and also because a lot of the things that's in the coffee is used for the cosmetic industry, the collectiveness is now more offices than coffee shops or cafes, because they really need to know where the coffee is coming from, going all the way back, and having certificates of Rainforest Alliance, UTZ, fair trade, etc. So that's the thing about it. But it's so nice that we can do it all in Denmark. And hopefully say, well, why are we shipping cheese from China, from China to Europe, when we have it here in Denmark right now? We have it all. We can do customization. We get the coffee from Denmark, the biomaterial from Sweden, and obviously our vision is that for our distributors in South Africa or North America, New Zealand, Australia, is that when proof of concept is there, which I think is quite soon, if not already. But I don't want to shank it, so to say. But is
I know
that
that's
also
it's a difficult part of the industry, isn't it? That
exactly.
Yeah.
But they would buy a compound, and then they would produce locally.
Okay.
So instead of us shipping cheese to US, that's no different from shipping cheese from China. I am aware of that. I can still argue about the bamboo stuff, but in terms of shipment, it's the same. China, Europe, it's the same thing. But if we ship the compound and make it, vacuum, and that's much easier, then they can produce and they can claim locally produced, and they can have, build a business out of that and own their P&L, and we would sell, per kilo and get a fee of the selling. That's, and that vision has, before the show, I said, well, in 3 years' time, that could be this year already, or early next year that is happening, which is amazing.
Unbelievable. I mean, when I saw, because the YouTuber you mentioned, I'm guessing is Mr. Short Game.
Exactly.
And I've got to ask, where were you? Because I was looking at that video and I saw the stand, and he was reviewing Green Up and everything like that, and I was waiting for you to pop out from somewhere. Where were you when that was being filmed? Was it something you weren't even aware of?
That is such a fun story, because that's where he is. That's the new product zone. That's our second exhibition area we had. We have the normal booth, and I was going back and forth like nobody else did that who was having their stuff on that. So I went back and forth, and I said, well, we've got two booths now. I need to maintain the other one, and Volley Golf can have the original one. And I talked to a lot of people. The first people I spoke to were Pebble Beach.
Wow. That's not bad. That's not a bad start.
Then maybe we're lucky that they will, but I don't know yet. Anyhow, so I go back and forth, and all of a sudden there's this guy standing with our teas, and I made an exhibition with coffee beans, as you've seen in the video.
Yeah.
And they go, can I tell you about our products? And I didn't know who he was, and I start telling about our Green Up and who we were and the concept. And I noticed all of a sudden there's a photographer in front of him, and he was listening, and then said. Some point he went, not listening as much, and then he goes to the cameraman. I think we do like this with the tea. And I said, what's going on here? Who is he? I had no idea who he was. And all of a sudden, somebody from Denmark is showing me, you aware of who this guy is? He just made a video of you. So unfortunately, I was around somewhere, because I just explained it all to him, and then he, had the recordings, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
Well, I turned my back, and he was so he didn't want. I think I see that he's been interviewing other people, but that point he just wanted the product, and I'm all good.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like finding the balance, isn't it? Because obviously it would have been cool for you to be in there and stuff. Because I think you're a big selling factor when it comes to Green Up Golf as well, because you're very authentic with how you market the product.
Yeah.
There's no sort of like fakeness when it comes to it. You sense that when seeing your Instagram page and when talking to you, when you popped on one of my Instagram lives, you're as excited as you'd want the customer to be receiving the product. And that really translates well into the thing. So I think he made a mistake. He should have had you in the video as well, because I think that's all part of it. But obviously you're aware that you can't always be there. And to be in the video, like you said, it helped massively. And you started receiving orders pretty soon after, from what you were saying, from the US.
I was not even at the airport when the show closed, and people, we can't buy, and what do you do? And I had to, contact Volley Golf, saying you need to open your web shop in US as of now, unless, because now we've got the innovators, we've got the new consumers, the one that has listening to Mr. Short Game, they want to have the trials. And I know from experience that I don't want to let them down. So obviously I start emailing and saying, well, if nothing else, when I'm back in Denmark, I'll ship it. You'll get it for free, because I just adore, that's, perhaps the wrong word, but I feel so humble, and I need to honor those that would like to try it.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think it all worked out, and they've all got cheese from, because Volley Golf had some in Texas they could ship. So I think it all worked out well. But that's a learning for the PGA Show, because there's so many influencers now. Looking back to the show. I see more and more videos coming up with people interviewing, and I've been, seeing whether we would have been in more, but I think he's the only one, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I take it.
It's modern day marketing, isn't it? I mean, since
Yeah.
I've started this podcast, I've noticed the positives really of the fact that people are very open now to the idea of, rather than paying X amount for marketing campaigns and everything like that, there's actually a whole different audience where it's essentially you send the products, they unboxing the product, reviewing the product, all these things, and actually they get probably a better consumer rate as far as like people then that might follow that person and go, well, I want to try that too, and then they head to your website. And I mean, that didn't exist. What are we talking, 15 years, 10 years ago, maybe,
No,
as
no.
far as a marketing strategy? I mean,
It didn't. You had early influencers, but that was before really you kicked off with what you're doing and the video behind it, instead of having people walking around the streets and shouting up, "Well, I'm using that." But
yeah,
the what you're doing and your colleagues all around the world is just adding credibility to a lot of stuff. And I and I think it's great. And obviously, I think also it's a balance. It's as you call it, the sword. The choosing who you would engage with, not only for me but for everybody else. The credibility from the one who is doing it. Want
absolutely,
to
yeah.
match up with whoever you are as a brand, not me as such, but who we are as a brand, or this the brand next door. But it's an amazing media, and it's nice to have those kind of conversations that we're having now. It's I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. It's great because getting to know people from all around the world, like yourself, that are, the fundamental core of what you're doing is just net positive for everyone. There's no downsides to what you're doing.
Yeah.
There's the idea of the coffee waste and the not using products which aren't sustainable anymore. And I guess on that subject as well, it seems to be an ideal time with golf growing in popularity, especially with a younger audience now. When you've got
Mm.
things like TGL, live in many aspects. That's bringing in a different audience. The PGA has had to react to that now, and they're trying to aim it more at the younger audience and everything like
Mm.
that. But throughout golf, there's sort of this idea of it being stuck in its ways and being rigid, and that
Mm.
existed for quite a long time. And there's part of me, and we can talk more about your golfing sort of story as well. But for me, I like the traditions of golf.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the game, and I don't think we should lose it. I think we should be very careful of not completely washing golf and becoming just like every other sport, which has lost a little bit of its, sometimes a little bit of its soul with the changes that have been made. I
Mm.
reference football
Yeah.
because for me, the implementation of VAR has ripped out the heart of what the game was about.
Indeed, indeed.
I, I, I honestly, I can't remember a time. I'm a Man United fan, so I had a good time. I had a good
A
20
decade
years.
ago, you had a good time.
I had a good, I had a good time, and without a doubt, you know, the dip in form has made football harder to watch for me. That's for sure. But also just the implementation of things like VAR has taken away the joy
Yeah.
in football in favor of making sure it's always right, which it never is going to be. And I think with golf, we have to be careful of not changing the game too much and it becoming not golf anymore. Not that tradition that makes golf everything. Picking your outfit to go to the golf course, as silly as it sounds, that is part of the fun of golf.
Yeah.
Those things. And what you're doing, you're not changing a tradition. You've found, I was thinking about this when you were talking about it earlier, it's got to be a product which is similar to what already exists and doesn't make it difficult to translate to the golfing audience.
Yeah.
And that is what you've done. And you're thinking of like the car, even with electric cars now, there is still people struggle with the change. They're used
Mm.
to going to a petrol station, used to filling up. The idea of plugging in at home is different. People are getting more used to it. but it's that change that's difficult. Whereas somebody can go to greenupgolf.com, go to EGN, who I think are your distributors in the UK. Is it Volley? Was that right?
Volley Golf, yeah.
Volley Golf in the US, and they can buy their tees, and that's exactly the same as what they'd done before. So with the younger audience as well coming into the game, I've gone a long way around the houses now. I had all these thoughts in my head, and I've ended up going on a bit of a monologue.
Oh, that's
Kristian.
fine. That's fine.
With a younger audience coming into the game, that's got to be a positive for you with the idea of sustainability, because I think that does resonate with a younger generation, perhaps more than the older generation in many ways. And how have you found your demographic when it comes to who is purchasing GreenUp's products?
I think I'm in all honesty, I think we're a bit too young to have a demographic, scheme. But I can say that I met different. The elderly at the PGA show came saying, "Well, we've been told we need more sustainability," and I met,
which is a great way of phrasing it.
It is. And I met, I think it was 4 guys at the show when I was at where Mr. Short Game was.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, there it is. That's not necessarily GreenUp, but the sustainability behind it, the idea behind our tee. But it could have been a competitor. It could have been someone else but me. But when I listened to these young guys running, that club, I think, was upstate somewhere in New York. I don't know. I'm not that good of geography over there, but I think it was somewhere in New York, in that area, big area.
Yeah, I'm no good.
And it was like, this is what we want. This is what golf needs.
Yeah.
And they were between 25 and 35, and that's the demographic where they haven't been told anything. They know it. They need it. They want it. The demographics, let's say from 35 or 40 and above, they're sort of in the mixed zone between we need to stick to what has been given to us or what we're used to, and then the progressive one that are listening, and saying that either out of a marketing perspective, where is as I said earlier, we are offering the same thing, very high end uniqueness in that. And then there is terms of increased sustainability, and I can do both. I mean, I'm honestly in here for sustainable and making golf more sustainable, but it has to be profitable. Yeah. We all know, was it Ocean Tea, who's actually began with the bamboo and was, heavy on marketing and perhaps too heavy on marketing before they actually sold anything. And then the concept was copied, overnight. Yeah. And this is why we want to, make sure that we have our cards right. But we clearly see that the younger, let's say up until 35, being educated in it and looking into, what's going to happen onwards. And then there is my generation, or I'm 50, but 51, but let's say 40 and above, who is sort of struggling in between. We can still do, and we have it. So I think that's the demographic behind it. But I think there's going to be a push for it, and also, they need to find the marketing money somewhere, because obviously our tees, even though I think they're cheap or well priced, they are not, as bamboo. Nobody can compete with China. I mean, no. I'm not different. Our tees are not different. The cars can't compete. The golf cars, the binoculars, nobody can compete against it. But we have some other things and other stories we can tell. And I think we saw that at the show, which is also the acknowledgement, going to the new product zone, a lot of very interesting stuff. Indeed, in terms of sustainability, not so much. Still. So, yeah.
I think people are leaning towards an era of wanting to buy products from people that they know, and I think social media has been an amazing tool for that. because, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to find out. You might have ended up on Green Up Golf website, and you might see, oh, Kristian, oh
Yeah.
yeah, okay, he seems nice, his story's nice on there, but I don't know more about his personality and things like that. And it's strange, isn't it? Because that is what people will spend a little bit extra on,
Yeah.
because supporting that person and their business means way more to that person than going on just a website and, going on Amazon and buying the cheapest one that's there. And I think there is definitely a leaning more towards people wanting to support a person's business rather than just supporting a faceless one, essentially.
I think that's true, and that's also why we're struggling. And I think for the past 2 or 3 months, perhaps 4 months, I've been better, and also having Instagram, Twitter, not as much X or Twitter, what's it called, but
No, that's a
mostly Instagram,
minefield.
a little bit of
It's a
TikTok
minefield.
with my face on it, and actually showing who we are, starting that. And then it's also been important for us to find, we've got two things we're supporting. Well, one we're supporting, and the other one, this is a sort of a sponsorship, but we've got Afria, which is a African golf project, Afria, a golf academy, by Gaukai Asaya, who is doing a tremendous work there, in Uganda, where they supporting young people try to learn golf, but at the same time they're collecting plastic bottles, and they're doing a lot of things in order to learn about sustainability and cleaning up and so forth. And that's sort of the emotional part of who we want to be. And then there is supporting the Danish golf, or supporting, we are being their tea partner, which is then out of the endorsement of the tea. As I said initially, we want to have something that is eco-friendly as it is, but without compromising on quality, because golfers, we buy very expensive equipment to, control every part of it. And the tee is as insignificant as this is on our drive. This is where our confidence lies, putting the tee, is it 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter? And if we slice, the first thing we say is, tee.
It was the tee. It had to be.
Height or something. So regardless of insignificant it is in this, it's still a big, big part of it. And I spoke to Thomas Bjørn about it, when DP World Tour in Denmark, and he said, well, they need to be white because that's what we're used to. And coming back to the ages, and Bjørn is my age, so he's not the youngsters who maybe, it doesn't really matter.
No,
But I don't want, Thomas Bjørn is a hero of mine, so I was starstruck when I finally was allowed to talk to him.
Yeah.
But the matter of fact is that we built something, and being at Danish Golf, knowing that they're not pros, Danish Golf is Eco Tour, Challenge Tour, funneling up towards the DP World Tour. But we were at the DP World Tour in Denmark in the starters house, and I saw pros playing with them, and I spoke to some of them, and I can name some of their names because I'm allowed to, and others said, well, we just play with this, and that's fine. But they said, and I will be very honest about it, your tee is brown, Kristian. We have difficulties in finding it, hence to Thomas Bjørn's very valid point. And that is, one of our biggest complaints. And I addressed that, head on. Yes, it is brown. It's made out of coffee, which is why it's brown. It smells of coffee.
I can agree.
Perhaps not the tears, but the pencil does, and the pitchfork does enormously. But never say never. That's an old James Bond movie. But I doubt that we will full color our tees, because it's a matter of perception also. Bamboo is now blue, red, yellow, whatever color, and they don't grow in those colors, so it's fully painted. And if my tee all of a sudden is blue, people will start disbelieving that, is it really made out of coffee? All of a sudden you can't smell it. So we will not do that. I doubt we will do that. And as I'm saying again, to being a little bit of naughty, is that, well, I also lost a pink tee, and I know why.
Oh
because
yeah,
I'm a bad golfer.
yeah.
Because
It
my
can end
drive
up
goes
anywhere.
all the way around. So the tees goes all directions. But the funny part is that even though we spend so little money on tees, that's the one we want to save on.
Yeah,
we just bought a new driver for, I don't know, £1,000. I don't know how many pounds or euros we're spending on golf equipment.
yeah.
But the one dime, one penny tee is all of a sudden very, very important to
Very
us.
important to save costs on that, Christian. That is fundamental to any golfer's life. I think what I really liked about Green Up when I first found your page on Instagram was that you weren't making any ridiculous claims about your tee either. The USP of your tee is sustainability and durability as well is important for you. That's what you've clarified here. But you were not saying it's going to make you drive 10 yards further. It's going to make you the straightest you've ever been on the course, because nothing winds me up more. I grew up, I don't know if you remember this era of the brush tees.
Yeah.
And I liked the brush tees because I thought it was a cool idea. But in reality, one, they were made out of plastic, which obviously wasn't great. You know that. But two, they broke the same as everything else because my swings are not that good. I'm not going to hit it great all the time. And two, they didn't do anything like that because you're swinging a club as hard as you can towards a golf ball. That tee is insignificant when it comes to how far you can hit, other than how, like we spoke about, how high or how low you place it. I mean,
Exactly.
that's pretty much it. So I want to thank you from the golfing community. I want to thank you for not saying the words "it's gonna make you hit further," because that is
I think
difficult.
actually at some point I said, well, we can't fix your slice, but we can fix your conscience.
That's brilliant. That needs to be front and center. That's amazing. That's amazing because that's a painful one to see and people are still doing it, and I don't understand what they're trying to gain from it other than trying to fool people, because people are going to notice. I mean, so many people are on simulators more now and actually getting data about their golf. And I guess maybe we can talk a little bit of golf now. Where are you when it sits in the golfing world when it comes to, I have to ask you this, Christian, what's your handicap? Because that's what everyone talks about.
I'm at 15. I think it's
15.
14.8 is the correct one. And I got difficulties in going down because I'm not practicing a lot. I should. But for me, it's the sum of things, equal. You can drive good and then you chip bad. It's the day where it all works. It's
It's a special day.
I like it, and I can come, as I say. It's important for me that I can go from tee to green without embarrassing myself way too much.
which is a horrible way to approach it, isn't it? But I think that resonates with so many people. You go on a day, you might, if you're playing around by yourself, it's not a big deal. You can try different things out. But when you're turning up in a 4-ball with your friends, you're just like, please today, please let me just hit a few good shots. That would be nice.
Just please. I was playing in Orlando prior to the show with our new distributor, and we were staying at Arnold Palmer, so Volley Golf were arranging. I never stayed in such an amazing place, and I was thrilled to play on Arnold Palmer's course, and we were enjoying ourselves in the evening when I flew in, and all of a sudden I go, well, do we need 3 or 4 caddies? Caddies?
Oh, it's a different world, isn't it?
What do you mean by caddies? Now I start to shake. I never played with caddies. What are you going to do? We need caddies. Okay, so we go to sleep, and then in the morning, some of their friends is coming, so we are 4-ball, and they start mentioning this caddy thing again. I was like, I never done that. So we had obviously then 2 caddies carrying our bags, and it didn't take him long to figure out that the green is that way, Kristian. Because don't bother telling me 150 yards away that I need to go left or right on the green. I just point on the flag, and if I'm lucky, I'll hit the green. Yeah. When I chip in, then you may help me. And
help me on the greens. Help me on the greens.
But that was amazing.
It's a different culture over there, isn't it, with the golf, with the caddies and even carts. Like it's just a totally different culture, which can be quite jarring. I'd have thought. I haven't been able to play in America, but hopefully one day, and it'll be a different experience. But that's amazing that you got to play at Arnold Palmer. I mean,
I played on the course where they're gonna play Arnold Palmer's Invitational, and they had the stands already, and I saw a gator in the lake, and I was full experience. I look forward to that. I'm fortunate I'll go to Spain Wednesday, and I'm gonna play there with my son. He's now better than me. Which is a struggle also for him, because when he makes his first bogey, the round is gone. But anyway, so he's a long hitter, but he's younger than me, so that's why.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But we're gonna play with a Spanish guy from Instagram as well, who I've again got to know like you. So I'm inviting him for a round of golf on Friday morning. I look forward to that.
Amazing. Where are you playing? Where are you playing in Spain?
We're gonna play Mijas, Los Lagos. I played there sometimes before, again with my son, and then on Saturday we're gonna play Torquemada. I don't know whether we're gonna play Thursday. I think my wife says no. So
you have to. It's balanced,
just
isn't it?
Saturday, but that's fine. It's fine. That's good. I look forward to playing with my son, because that's also what it's all about. It's
absolutely. Yeah, my little boy is 4, but he's had a club in his hand, because I took the game back up again. I played when I was younger. Podcast listeners know, but played when I was younger. Picked the game back up again properly about sort of 3 years ago, and he at that time he was about 18 months old, so he saw me practicing my swing in the garden over and over again, and was like, "What are you doing?" And I got him a little plastic set. He soon broke that by just swinging. He was going all out of his shoes, and got him a little proper set from Decathlon, and he loves it. He loves it, and I'm just trying to manage that. I'm trying to keep him loving it. I don't want to force him into lessons or, because at that age, just go out and have some fun and
fun.
Exactly, and it's winter time.
Quality time with it's mom or dad or both, or who you want. That's that's, I think, if you can manage that, and I'm sure you can, then it's going to be, you're going to give him a gift in terms of being able to play golf at an early age, but also you're going to give yourself a long-term gift at some point, which is just, amazing. What's your handicap? I need to know now. What's your handicap?
I'm 12. I'm a 12.8. I'm 12.8. Yeah. So when I took it back up again, I was probably a 20. And I've come down to 12.8. My goal this year is just to try and break 80 as early on into the year as I can, and then just to find that whatever that was that happened on that day and repeat it, essentially.
That's what it's all about, but the difficulties in that. But my estimation is that your son will be at 12.8 when he's around 11 or 12.
Yeah, that is the painful reality of it. And it sort of made me think, like, why did I stop playing when I was about 13? Because it really, I played a bit of football and stuff like that, but I could have just kept playing golf, and I wish I had. So, and like you said, that long lasting thing of being able to play with your son. I managed to play with my dad. My dad passed away about 6 years ago, and I played with him, quite a lot, and it was great. And we played abroad once, and that was a lovely memory that we had. We were both sort of just scrapping it around. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't a great watch for other people, but the memories stay with you, and you don't even know it in the time, do you? Especially as a kid. But for you, I'm sure you do know it in the time, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that.
That's an interesting point, because I think the reason to why I started playing golf when I was, I don't know, 20 years elder than you, so I was growing up. But I think that the reason to why you perhaps stopped at the age of 13 was that you got football, which and I think when we, like these years ago, 10, 15 years ago, golf were not that of a social thing. You had football, you had whatever other team sports you would have, mainly football or rugby or whatever in UK and handball and football in Denmark, which is more socially acceptable as a team sport, and individuals playing tennis or golf. But now my son started during COVID because golf, the driving range was the only place that was actually open where they could socialize the guys between, and they just hitting balls, and they had a few beers in the evening, just stood in the driving range, pow, pow, pow. And all of a sudden they're hitting straight because they got the 10,000 balls during COVID. But they kept at it, also playing football, but in the evenings they're enjoying themselves going to the range. And I think that has become more, which I completely, that's the best way to do it, and just had it accessible for them. Unfortunately, a lot of Danish clubs, I think, lost a lot of these youngsters when COVID finished. They were not really good enough at maintaining them in the club. Matthias stayed, but my son, but I think mainly because the parents paid the green fee, but not having a social stuff at the golf club, whereas football was still the main thing and still is. But now he can play golf and we can socialize with it. So I think hopefully, and I think more youngsters will come in because they're better at it now in terms of making a team effort like with football, because it doesn't have to be individual until the age of, I don't know, when you're turning elite or junior or 15, 16, that's where that's where it can be an individual thing. But prior to that, have fun and run a little bit and
I think that's a great message for anyone with sort of younger ones as well that are looking to get into the game. That's it. Just it's fun. It's fun. If they want to go out and play a scramble with you and things like that, don't be like me sometimes where my friends will be like, do you want to play a scramble? And I'm like, the thing is, I don't get to play enough. I really want to just keep my own score today. And they look at me like, you're so boring. So I'm going to work really hard on that this year. I'm going to try and be more fun on the golf course when it comes to stuff like that. But that's a great message, Kristian, and someone with the experience as well of obviously making that happen with your son as well, and now reaping the rewards of a couple of rounds in Spain together, which is
let's see how it goes on Friday.
Well,
we are still in family, but because we're competitive when we play, we are.
Me and my son's going to be a nightmare. I know it is, because he's got that same thing that I have where he has to win, and it's gonna be fraught, and it sounds like it's the same for you.
It will. There will be some postings on Instagram, I'm sure, from Green Up on my personal account, but there will be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on that. I'm gonna definitely have. I want score updates. I guess as a final point, Kristian, and thank you again for your time.
Me with this, thank you.
And where do you see this next year for Green Up? Obviously, that's quite a big question, but I know from what you've said before that you I think have a strategy and have a plan. So where do you see 2025, end of 2025, looking back, what's a good year for Green Up Golf?
It is getting through to some of the courses in UK, because it's a quite hard market. I know that the course, something with the Grove, will put us in their business for company days, which is a big win for us. Being put in forefront, where their company days customers can choose Green Up as an additional sustainable contribution to whatever they have normally. But if I can get through to a few golf clubs in UK. In terms of tees or pencils, and honestly, I don't mind it's just being the pencil, because it's also business for me. If that can open the door, by all means. So, and I'm quite sure that we will manage to get a few courses in England or UK broadened, so can also be Scotland. There are some very, very interesting negotiations going on between some very interesting clubs, and if that materializes, that can be the snowball effect that we need. People will tend to look up to something. It is gonna have the first order from US, having clubs in the US, and in Germany as well. So by the end of the year, I think perhaps we would say a success is having 15 courses around the world on a recurring, not just a fluke, just a test or something, but having customers that I can budget on going onwards, because that's what we need. But I honestly see that happening, and I will be again at the DP World Tour in Denmark, and we will be at Starter's house hopefully, and we will see players, and perhaps we're gonna see, Rasmus Nergaard actually played with our tees in Lübke. He's doing pretty well now. He's not playing with our tees at the moment. I can't say he is, but he did play with them last year. Hopefully Fantastic. I can have him play with them again. And if we can have one of these Danish guys, looking our way, that would be a tremendously win. So we're just gonna continue telling our story, and I think the pencil is gonna be our kick into the door. I think that's gonna help us having the full assortment, the pencil, the pitchfork, full sustainable assortment from tee to green.
Absolutely. Well, that sounds like a good year, and that sounds very. It also sounds very.
We could do a recheck next year.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to predict early on. We're going to do a stop-in again in 26 for sure. I'm going to predict it's going to be, I reckon double that, because I think Green Up's just a fantastic product. The products you produce, the accessories you produce, they don't make the game any different for somebody. But like you said, they clear that person's conscience. They make it so that it's a more sustainable game going forward. Obviously, there's other things that need to probably change as well, but it's a more sustainable game going forward using Green Up tees. And I just think it's a great product, and I actually can't wait. I haven't even got to use them yet, Kristian. That's the annoying part. I was like, the podcast scheduled for a month or so away. I'll be absolutely fine. I haven't even got out on a golf course yet because it's just been dreadful. And simulators, they don't have anywhere to put a tee.
No, and they can't. You can't play with our tees, and any tees breaks in the simulator way too easy, and ours do as well.
Exactly. So I wouldn't want to do that to them, but I can't wait to get out, and when I do, I'm going to do a full review on them and everything like that, and I'll tell you, I actually drove the ball 20 yards further, much straighter than I ever have before.
Well, I will not say that I fixed your slice. I think you just did it well practicing.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kristian.
Thank you for letting me.
No, absolutely. On this episode of the podcast, we'll catch up again soon, and if you head over to the UK at some point, hopefully we can, if the weather's any good, either we go out on a golf course or just maybe have a beer instead. Would be nice, but
hopefully do both, but absolutely. I can do with either one.
Thank you, Kristian.
That's for sure.
Thank you so much, and enjoy Spain.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you.